अस्सलाम वालेकुम नाज़रीन, प्रोग्राम में खुश आमदीद। हम अपने मामलात के अंदर इतने खो गए हैं और हमने अपनी बहस को इतना ज़्यादा इरेलेवेंट बना दिया है दुनिया भर की रियलिटी से कि कभी हम देखते नहीं है कि इर्द गिर्द क्या हो रहा है। किसी जमाने में पाकिस्तान के अंदर फलस्तीन के इशू का बड़ा डंका बजा करता था। फलस्तीन के अंदर क्या हो रहा है, लोगों की दिलचस्पी बहुत थी, स्कॉलर्स की दिलचस्पी भी बहुत थी, जो आम लोग हैं उनकी दिलचस्पी भी बहुत थी। और फिर हमने देखा कि दुनिया भर में बहुत बड़े बड़े जब वाकयात होते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं से इसका ताल्लुक मशरक़ वस्ता के अंदर होने वाले वाकयात से जुड़ जाता है। 9/11 का वाकया हो या उसके बाद हमारे अपने इलाके के अंदर होने वाले जो खलफिशार है, उसकी जड़ें अगर आप देखें तो कहीं ना कहीं से जाके ये फलस्तीन के मामले के साथ जुड़ जाती हैं। जब से हमने अरब ममालिक के अंदर एक टर्माइल देखना शुरू किया जिसको पहले अरब स्प्रिंग का नाम दिया गया, जब से हमने अरब और अजम की जंग को एक नए जाविये से देखना शुरू किया, जब से हमने टर्की की नई ताकत को देखना शुरू किया, तब से हम ये सोचने पे मजबूर हो गए कि एक मामला है जिसके ऊपर तमाम रियासतों की तवज्जो मरकूज होनी चाहिए, बशमूल पाकिस्तान की रियासत की, वो फलस्तीन का है। लेकिन क्या करें, अपने मामलात ऐसे हैं कि इसके ऊपर तवज्जो नहीं होती। आज का प्रोग्राम हम फलस्तीन के हवाले से करते हैं। हमारे पास एक डिस्टिंग्विश्ड गेस्ट मौजूद हैं, डॉक्टर हनान अवद। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस। नाज़रीन, हमें डॉक्टर हनान अवद का अगर मैं इंट्रोडक्शन कराने लगूं तो बड़ा तवील होगा। ये जो मेंबर है फलस्तीनी नेशनल काउंसिल की, कल्चरल एडवाइजर है हिज एक्सीलेंसी यासर अरफात, इसके अलावा प्रेसिडेंट है पैलेस्टीनियन पेन, 7 किताबें इन्होंने तहरीर की हुई हैं और एक राइटर है, ऑथर है, इनकी तवील जद्दोजहद है। हम जरा इनसे जानना चाहते हैं कि कभी क्या फलस्तीन का मामला हल होगा, कभी मिडल ईस्ट स्टेबलाइज होगा, कभी उसके फवायद हमें भी नसीब होंगे नहीं होंगे। डॉक्टर हनान, नाउ फॉर्मली very warm welcome to you. I apologize for a long introduction in Urdu, but the audience happens to be in Urdu. Delighted to have you here.
I'm very, very honored to be with you. I'm very honored to visit Pakistan. Allow me on behalf of my people and on behalf of the President and Palestine National Authority to salute you. We really pay tribute to the Pakistani people and leadership with their stances. They stand firm with Palestine always. It's a long history to go through. I'm very honored and happy to be in Pakistan.
You humble us with your praise and delighted to hear it from you, as authentic as it gets. Let me start with the most important question on the minds of the viewers, I presume. Certainly it's on my mind. What is the latest as far as the Palestinian issue is concerned? Are we making any headway or no?
Well, as you are aware, we agreed to the peace process to achieve a just and durable peace in Palestine. But as you are also the one Yasser Arafat who agreed to the peace initiative and who created the peace of the brave. That means you have to be honest, you have to adhere to the principle of peace. Unfortunately, since then the Israeli didn't adhere to all the signed agreements. According to the agreements in 1999, the Palestinian state was supposed to be proclaimed. So as you were aware, now they are still grabbing the land. There is a siege on our Palestinian people. There is a checkpoint here and there, the imprisonment, the question of the prisoner of conscience, and all these difficulties of the Palestinian people. Despite this fact, His Excellency Mahmoud Abbas said, we adhere to the just and durable peace, and we will continue for the peace. And he agreed to go to the negotiation in the hope that the Israeli side will give, and they will give our land, and we proclaim our state. Unfortunately, the peace process was stopped for 3 years, and nothing on the ground. We started again. Kerry comes and goes, and nothing real on Palestine. There are promises, there are plans, but at the same time, the settlements are going on, the imprisonment are going on. Jerusalem, it become, the Arab areas, the Palestinian areas become very little. They are grabbing the land, taking the houses, putting their flags in Jerusalem. They are digging under the mosque. So the concept of peace and justice is very essential for the Palestinians.
You are an author, and you of course, realize more than anybody else the sanctity of the word. You have used, unfortunately, 4 times in describing this situation. Unfortunate it certainly is. Viewers may want to know what has then all that struggle led to? If we still talk about unfortunate outcomes, if we still talk about unfortunate and stuck-up peace processes, unfortunate not making headway, what have we achieved so far?
Well, what we achieve is our presence in our country. What we achieve, our defense of our identity. What we achieve, our struggle, our belief in our rights. You know, Palestine is Palestine, cannot be divided. But we accepted, in order to accept the peace process, we know the power of the international. That's why we ask for the possible justice. Abu Ammar said, I am not asking the moon, I am asking for the possible justice. The possible justice that we are asking is, Palestine states on the border of pre-1967, but Israel emerged in ease in all the border building the settlements. I think the struggle of people will never stop. Our people are determined to continue to go ahead until we achieve. You know, last year we achieved Palestine state as observer, and we hope to achieve it in reality when all, you know, with our state friends in all over the world. And I recall Pakistan's position in that moment. It was very important that they declare and they stand firm with us. I think the struggle is not very easy. The road of peace, it's full of thorns. And the thorn, we have to come out of it. You know, Israel is refusing. They will not give anything. Now, the role of the international community. You are aware how many international resolutions concerning Palestine, and nothing was implemented. This is the role of the UN, the European Union, and America not to have two-standard position. The U.S. has to play its real role and to give the Palestinian people its freedom and its sovereignty.
We'll come to the U.S. role in a little while. I think that's a very fundamental issue,
yes.
That the way the international community is going to then throw its weight behind a particular type of a solution and stick to it rather than changing goalposts all the time. But let's talk first about the nature of resistance. You have observed this over a very long period of time.
Yes.
Yasser Arafat's days and up till now as we speak. What are the fundamental changes that have taken place, and if there is any change that has taken place at all, or is it the same as used to be before? Have the tactics changed? Have it has become more fearsome, or there are more groups competing? You know, give us a profile of the resistance.
Actually, it's not a group competing. It's all the Palestinians as one people. Palestinians, they want their independence and their sovereign state. We declare the civil disobedience, like Gandhi, like Mandela, like all these people. We demonstrate, we raise our voice high. So this is now what we're doing. His Excellency the President work hard on the international community. Our authorities working hard on the international community. We, NGOs and civil society and all the Palestinian people do their efforts to do something. So there is no radical change. You know, the radical change means that you will change your targets, you will change your strategy. The strategy is one. The state of Palestine is Palestine. But you have roads and means and ways to struggle and to achieve your goals. So we use everything. As a writer, I use my pen. I have all the contacts with the writers from all over the world. We as one as having common ground to say no to any kind of oppression, no to occupation, no to imprisonment, no to imprison the world, and in the belief that we do believe that the world will never be imprisoned, whatever the power of colonization and occupation start. However, the walls put in front. I know, I feel, and I do believe that the world will flee through all the walls.
Has it made a difference in terms of the reality on ground? Do you see it make any difference to the Israelis' mindset? I mean, the more we read about the way they react to this, the more we realize that, you know, they are worse than what they used to be.
Well, I think that the Israeli policy, the Zionist policy is very clear. Okay, they want Palestine, they want to grab it, they want to expand it, they want to take what is possible to be taken. They play a very important question, which is the time. unacceptably of the time. Their postponement of the agreement, they get time in order to take more land and to take more sites in Jerusalem and other Palestinian area. The agreement has to be now, Palestine, all the cities of Palestine has to be free and independent. But anytime you feel the Israeli soldier can enter any city and then imprison people and this. So Israel will not give. They need a power.
So how do you make them give? I mean, it takes two to tango, it takes two to go to war, it takes two to make peace. So Israelis are least interested. How do you change that then?
Well, I think if you talk about war, Palestinians cannot make war. They are resist in all civil way because there is no equality.
Yeah.
If you recall the.
I was only using it as a metaphor, but in terms of making peace.
But it's important, I think, the people to understand. We are in Palestine. We have the Palestine National Authority. Now we're not this have. We don't have arm. You see, we don't have army that can defend. You see, what we do, like we do in the Intifada, the people fighting their simple, instrument and articles. So the Israel is equipped, fully equipped with atom bombs, with all the arms. So how can you see the equality in this?
There's no equality, but how do you make this unequal and exceedingly oppressive and basically a country that perseveres and wants to wear it out, as you say, they play for time. How do you make them change their policy? What more can you do, really?
I think the peace needs power. You cannot make peace without power. The power comes through the decision. First, the power of the Palestinian people are there. The decision of our authority is there. But we need the power of the international community, the power of the United Nations, the power of the European Union, the power of all our friends in all over the world. I recall what happened in Gaza. You remember, they bombed the people, the civilian, hundreds of children were killed, women and men. And, there was silence, there was protest from our friends in all over the world. But on the very official level in the United Nations, there was not real act to stop the Israeli atrocities against our people. So I think no resolution can be implemented, without the United Nations. So why our resolution are not implemented? This is a big question.
Let me repeat your question and seek an answer from you. Why do you think it's not implemented?
Well, I think, the Israelis fully supported by the U.S. And, U.S. is the biggest power in the world.
What would the U.S., okay, let's build it up further.
Okay.
What's the U.S. interest in supporting Israel?
Why they are, this is, everybody asks this question, not you and me. Everybody. Why? What they see.
Give us the leading theories on the answers. What is the leading theory?
I think it's benefit and advantages they want and a blend. They having plan to change all the Middle East, change the Arab world, and as you see what's going on now in the Arab world, you see they are divided our countries. They are changing in their own way.
I thought democracy had arrived in the Middle East.
I think the democracy is not arriving. This is the democracy of blood. There is no democracy by killing people. The democracy comes as a strategy, as understanding, as a philosophy of human sense, but not as armed people and let them kill the others. This is not democracy.
So you think this has become a movement to basically divide up the Middle East, change demography, change countries, reconfigure borders as part of the larger plan?
We have to be very, very careful in that sense. When people revolt, they want change. They want positive change. But when they revolt, and there will international interference, and in their own way, in their own dream, how they want the Middle East to be, this is a big question. You see, there should be more awareness, the importance of identity, the cultural identity, the dignity of the Arab people, the Palestinian people, the people in the Middle East. So we have to stand firm towards our identity, towards our right. We shouldn't, be silent on our rights. This needs lots of efforts on the national level, on the international level, and the governmental level and non-governmental level.
So the people's revolt in the Middle East could be genuine, but the external interference shouldn't be there.
Yes.
But you also want the world to intervene in the Palestinian conflict. So, you know, they shouldn't intervene in Syria, they shouldn't intervene in Libya, they shouldn't intervene in Egypt, but they should intervene in Palestine.
No, it's not this way. You got me wrongly. They should be, you know, when they speak about justice, human rights is not divided. Okay. It's not for one side or the other. Human rights has to be implemented in all parts of the world, not only in the Arab world, not only in Palestine. Coming to Palestine is not the question of to help. It's not to help. They are the decision makers. Who make the decision? Who agree to the resolution with all the international countries? There is a resolution has to be implemented. There is justice has to be spreaded. There is a belief in the human sense. Why Palestine should be treated like this? Why the children of Palestine should be killed and nobody say anything? Why? In other hand, if something happened in Israel, everybody will revolt and say we are terrorists. So we have to differentiate between these two terms.
These are not exactly equal equations.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's talk about, you said that empowerment, you know, the international community could have intervened, doesn't seem to intervene. The region is up in turmoil. How much of this turmoil that you see in the region around the Palestinian people has affected your struggle? I mean, you must be quite disappointed because the countries now are breaking up. They have got their internal problems.
Yeah, we cannot say they did not intervene. Absolutely, they did. They have lots of meetings. We have lots of points that they put restriction on Palestine. You know, I remind you, in the time of the Intifada, the second Intifada, while Abu Ammar is the symbol of peace, okay, his compound was destructed. Okay, and when something happened inside Israel, the American delegates come like Zini or whoever, and they put restriction of Ammar. You have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do that. While on the other side, Sharon, which he was a criminal against all the Palestinians, they never tell him stop atrocity, stop state terrorism against the Palestinian people.
So they did intervene, but on the wrong side.
Yeah, in their own side, in their understanding. And then when they speak about the peace, in their understanding, they put condition on our. And in anything happen, they put restriction on the authority. From time to time, they said, okay, if you don't do that, so money will not reach to you. So you will suffer with the money. So this is kind of pressure on the Palestinian people.
But to come back to this, so the turmoil in the Middle East, how has it affected the Palestinian cause?
Of course it affects, you know, because, you know, after all these years of struggle, we expect that the state will be proclaimed and the peace is planted in Palestine, is flourish in Palestine. But this is a long struggle, you know, and we do believe that the path is not easy. As I told you, it's full of thorn. And we are determined to continue. We are disappointed, I must tell you frankly. From time to time, you know, we are depressed of what's happening, of the injustice in the world, of the one-side view towards our issue, in the double standard dealing with our issue. But that doesn't stop us from continue our struggle to the end in all levels, whatever the situation is.
Let me take a break here. नाज़रीन, हम बात कर रहे हैं डॉक्टर हनान ए अवध से, जो फ़लस्तीन से हमें एक तसव्वुर और तज्ज़िया मुहैया कर रही हैं. बड़ा कीमती तज्ज़िया है. हमारे लिए भी इसके अंदर बड़े लेसन्स हैं, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ पर भी ये बहस चलती रहती है कि मसलन कश्मीरियों का मामला जो है वो कब तय होगा, इर्द गिर्द के हालात कितना मुतासर कर सकते हैं किसी कॉज को, फ़लस्तीनियन का कॉज जो है वो कितना मुतासर हुआ है, अरब वर्ल्ड के अंदर जो तब्दीलियां आ रही हैं. हम 3-4 और इनसे बड़े बड़े सवाल करेंगे. एक मैं यकीनी इनसे जानना चाहूँगा कि जो अरब ममालिक के अंदर इस वक्त हो रहा है, जहाँ पर अंदरूनी जो किलिंग हो रही है, वो भी इतनी ही विशेष हमें नजर आती है दूर से बैठे हुए. शी में हैव अनदर पर्सपेक्टिव टू ऑफर. ब्रेक के बाद आते हैं तो इनसे बात जारी रखेंगे. नाज़रीन, हमारे पास डॉक्टर हनान ए अवध मौजूद हैं, जो कल्चरल एडवाइज़र भी हैं, मेंबर फ़लस्तीन नेशनल काउंसिल भी हैं, कल्चरल एडवाइज़र हिज एक्सीलेंसी यासिर अरफात, और ऑथर हैं, राइटर हैं. फ़लस्तीन से एक तस्वर हमारे सामने लेके आई हैं. Okay, I want to actually ask this question to you initially, but I think it has come to me at the right time. You know, I could perhaps, from the power politics point of view, see what the Israelis are doing. We were also, in a very limited sense, exposed to what the Israelis are capable of doing when they attacked the help that we were taking to the stranded people in Gaza. But that's nothing as compared to what the Palestinians have suffered over the last, God knows how many decades, almost in times immemorial, it seems.
Yes.
But the brutality of, the killing in the Arab countries themselves is very, very frightening. I mean, the way the same brothers kill each other, the brothers in faith kill each other, what explains that brutality? I mean, I can understand there's an international conspiracy that could sort of pit one people against the other, but the sheer madness and the violence that you see in these countries, how would this be different from the way Palestinians are being killed by Israelis?
It's completely different. Excuse me. The Palestinian issue is a land issue. It's a loss of land, and the people struggle for getting their land. The revolution in the Arab world started to get more democracy, a more better future. Okay, this is very great. It's beautiful. We agree to it. But the thing is, nothing comes in politics as a sudden. It always planned, and it's part of a plan of the Middle East to make it like this in a chaos, in a way that be divided. That the aim of this is to weaken the power of resistance in all the surrounding area that keeps Israel safe and in a good shape. So this is the very long strategic. And what's going on if you go to each area by itself and see what's going on, the division, the people, they create leadership, new leaders. You find leader here and leader there. Every day somebody speak, in the TV, and you see we all, as we Palestinians, we are defending our rights, and we are with all the Arab people who are struggling for their better life, for their democracy, but through themselves and not through the others. Revolution need leader and need strategy. Revolution need principles. Why we revolt? We revolt in order to achieve something. So the Arab revolution has to have its strategy and should be through its people.
Don't these leaders realize what is happening to their countries? I mean, these are, I take your point fully.
Okay.
And the regional turmoil is going to be of such benefit to Israel and of such great misery to the Palestinians, additional misery.
Yes.
Don't they realize what is happening in their countries and what is making them do these things? I mean, that's the question that we
This is a big question that we all ask. I tell you what is making them. Because, when you have plan, conspiracy plan, even the word conspiracy is not enough. It's very strategic, hidden agenda plan. Okay? It moves like a computer, When in Egypt was a revolution, and Nasser make a revolution, it was a real revolution. It has a principle, it has acts that it's for the benefits of the people, okay? And now, the revolution itself is good, and it's positive, and it has to come out with very positive. Now in Egypt is getting better, in other Arab world, but now they are trying in the Middle East, in the surrounding area that is close to Israel, to weaken all the Arab countries that is on the borders of Israel. So I think we are in a dangerous situation. And the only answer to that, I think the people, the awareness of the people, to be aware of what's going on, to revolt in their own way, in their own identity, for all their own better future, not to revolt through information coming, orders coming from abroad.
In an ideal world, perhaps if one were to pick 3 countries that would come together and change the equation for the Palestinians, it'll be not necessarily in order of preference, but just taking those names, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and increasingly Turkey. But we see, instead of sort of coming together, there seems to be this silent jostling and sometimes not so silent jostling for spheres of influence. Do you ever see a situation where Ankara, Tehran, and Riyadh, they actually come together and say, we are going to use our very big clout and create an enabling environment for the Palestinians?
They have to, and they do it sometimes. I don't forget that each state has its own agenda, okay? But at the same time, they do something. They try to help. Okay, but their agenda sometimes maybe it negates. You know, Iran, they make her busy of this nuclear weapons, and it's not fair. Israel has nuclear weapons. They know, they don't say no for it. So they make Iran busy all the time with this, you know, for these punishments and all these things. Saudi Arabia is doing their role, you know, they're doing their role, and they pushing forward for the just solution for the Palestinian people. You know, the Arab initiative of the solution that was taking of the Saudi
Saudi
Arabia.
also want the Iranians to be knocked out, and they want Bashar al-Assad to be knocked out as well. The Saudis have got their own agendas as well.
You see, there are, you know, a disagreement in one aspect, and it's very natural. You cannot say everybody you have to agree to this point. We accept differences. If you are a democracy, so you have to accept differences, but at the same time, we hope that, as you said, all come together in one point, that stop, enough is enough for unjust solution. Enough, we have to get as one, you know, as the Arab world, the Islamic world, all the friends of it all over the world, as one.
Let's talk as a move out of the Middle East and talk about other Muslim countries as well.
Okay.
You've got Indonesia, you've got Malaysia, you've got Pakistan, and you know, nobody talks about the huge majority that lives inside India as well. You've got Bangladesh as well. What's your assessment of the support coming from the non-Arab, non-Turkic, non-Ajami section of the Muslim societies?
Well, I think there is a support, you know, in the Muslim society. If you go to the people first, the heart of the people with Palestine, you know, and you know, the Muslim countries support, as you know, as we all want a collective support together. And you see, when we have the vote for the Palestinian state, as observer, we have a big support from the Muslim country, from the different countries of the world. We are very, we pay tribute to all these countries who stand firm with us. There is a support. There is a support, and we are very thankful to our friends in all over the world. But as we always said, we want more. Okay?
You certainly deserve more.
We want
you
more
certainly deserve
in
more.
order to achieve, you know, our full independent state, where Palestine will be the center for all the people to come to Palestine. They find their family there.
That'll be a lovely scenario. I'll be actually in the first queue that will be formed to actually take a ticket and go to Palestine. I would love to take this legitimate flight to Palestine, which is the right of
Ahlan wa sahlan.
Let's talk a bit towards the end of it. What has been the role of the Europeans in terms of extending support? They claim to have emerged as a separate bloc altogether. How do you assess their support?
Well, the European Union meet many times, and they get support, and they follow up with all the steps, you know, that's going on. But as you are aware, you know, Israel do not listen. Do not listen to the European Union. Do not listen to anybody. They turn their faces from whenever we have a positive resolution. You know, the European Union state, you know, last month, very positive towards Palestine. Then Israel even didn't listen. They criticize the European Union, and they do not listen. And you imagine how many times there were resolutions, international resolutions from the European Union and from the United Nations to stop the settlements, stop the settlements. In the contrary, the next day, then you have a decision from Netanyahu and whoever, and say, yes, we are going to build tomorrow around Jerusalem 10,000 another house units.
Minus the US support, how powerful Israel be?
I don't think it will be as powerful as it is.
And we'll have to then listen.
Yeah. They cannot be powerful because they are dependent. You know how many millions of arms they send to Israel every year, and how big amounts of money for many institutions in Israel. You see, so this help, if it concerns one of the things which is very important in the BDS. BDS is the boycott of Israel. We start this movement in the international level, on the intellectual level, in the cultural level, and in the educational level. It helps. It not make a radical change, but it's very influential and very
Symbolism
effective.
is very, very strong.
Yeah.
Very, very strong.
And this, you see, it's very important that people in the awareness and the Palestinians in their country, their struggle, And whatever the situation is, because we're not going to lose Palestine, we have to protect Palestine. We have to protect our people and our country. Of course, we lost big part of Palestine. We have to keep struggling until we achieve our full independence.
Look, Dr. Hanan, about your determination, speaks volumes of the kind of steadfastness that the Palestinians have shown, and we admire you for that. But that's where our program ends. Thank you so very much for joining us for this session. नाज़रीन, डॉक्टर हनान अवध की आपने बातें सुनी, तर्जमे में हो सकता है इनका पैगाम कहीं कहीं पर कमज़ोर पड़ गया हो, लेकिन बुनियादी बात वो यही कर रही हैं कि स्ट्रगल तो जारी रखे हुए हैं और जारी रखेंगी, लेकिन स्ट्रगल को बानतीजा बनाने के लिए आपको एम्पावरमेंट भी चाहिए, ताकत भी चाहिए. हमारे लिए इसके अंदर बहुत बड़ा मैसेज है. सिर्फ स्ट्रगल तो चला सकते हैं, लेकिन बानतीजा बनाने के लिए आपको एम्पावरमेंट चाहिए. तलत हुसैन को इजाज़त दीजिए. अल्लाह हाफ़िज़.